On September 14, 2001, just 3 days after the unthinkable, President George W. Bush stood amidst the devastation of Ground Zero in New York City. Surrounded by exhausted firefighters, police, and rescue personnel, he clasped hands, offered words of solace, and bore witness to an unparalleled national tragedy. This scene, one of immense grief yet profound solidarity, became an enduring symbol of American resilience. But to truly understand the spirit captured in this moment, we must rewind to the morning of September 11th itself, to the initial chaos and the unseen decisions made when the nation was blindsided. That fateful Tuesday morning, thousands of miles away from the looming Twin Towers, President Bush was visiting Emma E. Booker Elementary School in Sarasota, Florida. He was preparing to read to a classroom of second graders when he received the first terse message that a plane had struck the World Trade Center. Moments later, as he continued the reading, his Chief of Staff, Andrew Card, whispered the chilling update, "America is under attack." The image captures the president, turning to watch the unfolding horror on a small television as the gravity of the situation began to sink in. His immediate instinct was to project calm, but the Secret Service was already scrambling, realizing the leader of the free world was a potential target, far from the capital. While the world's eyes were fixed on the inferno in New York City, another devastating blow struck the very heart of American military power. In Washington, D.C., as night fell on September 11th, the Pentagon smoldered. The eerie glow of fires against the dark sky, with the dome of the Capitol building barely visible in the distance, painted a picture of a nation under siege. This was not an accidental crash, it was a deliberate act of war, demonstrating the terrorists' intent to cripple not just our economic symbols, but our defense as well. The immediate aftermath was a scramble to understand the full scope of the coordinated attacks and to secure the government, amidst fears of more targets yet to be revealed. 2 days later, the full scale of the attack on the Pentagon became horrifyingly clear. From above, the massive breach in the structure was unmistakable. American Airlines Flight 77, hijacked from Dulles International Airport, had slammed into the building at 9:37 in the morning, taking 64 lives aboard the aircraft and 125 more inside the Pentagon. What many don't know is that the section of the Pentagon hit that day had just undergone extensive renovations, including reinforced steel and blast-resistant windows. Though not designed for an aircraft impact, these upgrades, combined with the fact that many offices in that section were still unoccupied due to the ongoing renovation, inadvertently saved hundreds of lives, preventing an even more catastrophic loss. Zooming in from the aerial view, we witness the intimate devastation within the Pentagon's hallowed halls. This damaged office on the 5th floor, now a charred ruin, tells a silent story of ordinary workdays violently interrupted. Imagine the files, the personal photos, the everyday items that once filled this space, all obliterated in an instant. The intense heat of the jet fuel fire melted metal and warped concrete, transforming familiar objects into unrecognizable relics. Each broken pane and twisted beam represents not just structural damage, but the abrupt end of routines, futures, and lives within those walls. As chaos reigned outside and within the Pentagon, the nation's leadership was whisked away to the President's Emergency Operations Center, or POC, a highly secure bunker beneath the White House. Here, President Bush is seen in intense discussion with Vice President Dick Cheney, National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, and other advisors. The air in the POC was thick with urgency, fear, and the immense responsibility of making life-or-death decisions. The chain of command was under unprecedented stress, navigating conflicting reports and the terrifying possibility of further attacks, including on Air Force One itself, which was flying the president to secure locations. A stark reminder of the sudden violence of the attack on the Pentagon is this clock, frozen at precisely 9:37 in the morning, the moment American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the building. It stands as a powerful, silent testament to the instant that time stopped for so many. This artifact symbolizes the abrupt end of routines and lives, a chilling marker of history forever etched into the building's fabric. It reminds us that behind the grand scale of the attack were thousands of individual stories, each one fractured at that exact second. Within the confines of the POC, Vice President Dick Cheney and National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice reflect the immense pressure and profound gravity of the situation. Cheney, in particular, was at the heart of the military response, issuing critical, even controversial orders to protect United States airspace, including the authorization to shoot down any civilian aircraft confirmed to be hijacked and posing a threat. Their expressions reveal the incredible burden of leadership in a crisis, the exhaustion and the intense focus required to navigate the most significant attack on American soil since Pearl Harbor. They were staring into an abyss of uncertainty, making decisions that would forever shape the nation's future. Meanwhile, back in New York, a massive plume of smoke continued to rise from lower Manhattan, an apocalyptic cloud visible for miles across the Hudson River. This enduring image became the most pervasive symbol of the September 11th attacks. Beyond the immediate destruction, this smoke contained a toxic cocktail of pulverized building materials, asbestos, and countless other hazardous substances, contributing to long-term health issues for thousands of first responders and residents in the years that followed. The sheer scale of the environmental disaster was unprecedented, leaving an indelible scar on the city's skyline and the health of its heroes. Another deeply personal look into the Pentagon's destruction reveals burned and melted items on an office desk. A telephone, a fire extinguisher, once symbols of communication and safety, are now fused and twisted, rendered useless by the intense heat and force. These mundane objects found in countless offices across the country underscore the sudden and brutal intrusion of violence into ordinary lives. They serve as tangible reminders of the overwhelming power of the impact and the subsequent inferno, erasing the familiar and leaving behind only charred remnants. Away from the command center, President Bush's day on September 11th unfolded aboard Air Force One, turning the presidential aircraft into a high-stakes mobile command post. Seen here, he speaks on the phone while senior staff huddle, working furiously to gather information and advise the president. For hours, Air Force One flew an erratic path, from Florida to Louisiana, then to Nebraska, as security precautions dictated keeping the president in the air, away from potential ground targets. The tension in that cabin was palpable, as the most secure plane in the world became a sanctuary of uncertainty, with the crew and staff acutely aware that they too could be a target. Back in the POC, Secretary of State Colin Powell receives a briefing, his face etched with concern. As the nation's chief diplomat, his immediate task was to manage the global fallout, reassure allies, and prepare for the diplomatic complexities of a worldwide response to terrorism. Powell, a highly respected military leader and statesman, carried the weight of communicating America's resolve to the international community. His presence underscored the multifaceted nature of the crisis, extending far beyond domestic borders to encompass global security and alliances. Amidst the smoldering ruins of Ground Zero, the human cost and the tireless effort of recovery took center stage. Here, a New York National Guard soldier from the historic Fighting 69th Infantry Division, wearing a gas mask, pauses amidst the rubble. The conditions were horrific, a landscape of twisted steel, pulverized concrete, and the acrid smell of burning jet fuel and other chemicals. For weeks and months, these brave individuals, often working 24-hour shifts, sifted through the debris, driven by an unwavering determination to find survivors and recover the remains of those lost, enduring unimaginable sights and sounds in a toxic environment. In the POC, President Bush and Vice President Cheney share a moment, their expressions reflecting the profound burden of leadership in this unprecedented crisis. Their collaboration during these critical hours was essential as they worked to stabilize a shaken nation and chart a path forward. This photograph captures not just two leaders but two men grappling with an immense responsibility, facing down a moment that would forever alter the course of American history, forging a deep and solemn bond in the crucible of national trauma. Ultimately, the narrative of September 11th is one of collective resolve. Here, New York National Guard soldiers, including members of the storied 69th Infantry Division, work alongside New York City firefighters, forming an unwavering line against the devastation at Ground Zero. They manually remove debris, bucket by bucket, piece by piece, in an operation that would last for 9 months. This image, like the initial one, embodies the indomitable spirit of a nation united in grief and purpose. From the immediate shock and the crucial decisions made in hidden bunkers, to the raw physical labor of recovery, September 11th fundamentally reshaped America, catalyzing a profound sense of national unity and a renewed determination to overcome adversity, leaving an enduring legacy on our shared identity in the world.